Before the first star ignited the cosmic veil, before gods, demons, or light had names to speak, there was chaos, and there was the void. Zom, horned titan of ancient chaos, was not born. He erupted into being when the earliest mystical forces clashed. He was pure fury, forged in the rupture between lore and madness. So violent was his existence that the Vishanti, the architects of magical order, had to bind him in the ored casket, sealed with spells older than speech. Even Dormammu, the lord of the dark dimension, dared not speak his name aloud. But something older than Vishanti stirred. Something darker than Dormammu remembered. Knull, the god of the abyss. Knull existed before the Celestials birthed the first light. He slumbered in silence until their radiant creations woke him. Furious, he forged the All-Black, the first symbiote, and began his crusade to unmake creation. But in the millennia of conquest, even Knull encountered things too dangerous to dominate, things even he chose to forget. Zom was one of them. Far beneath the layers of the astral plane, past forgotten dungeons of fallen sorcerers, Knull stood at the edge of the Well of Wounds, a realm where sealed beings whisper from beyond the veils. There, with the All-Black coiled around his arm like a serpent, he felt it, a heartbeat of something wrong, something ancient and hungry. Knull reached forth. The well pulsed. Black tendrils crept along the boundary, seeking out a cursed lock formed by the Vishanti. Knull grinned beneath his obsidian helm. The gods who bound you are gone. Let your hatred guide you. Serve me or be unmade again. The lock cracked. The air shook. A massive horned hand punched through the boundary. Zom had returned. Reality screamed. The sky of the Well of Wounds split open like flesh, and Zom emerged. Molten runes burning across his chest, his size warping perspective. 1 second, he looked like a titan, the next, like a mountain swallowing light. He didn't speak. Zom never spoke. He roared, and entire minor dimensions collapsed into ash. Knull stepped back, eyes narrowed. The All-Black hissed. "You are raw," Knull whispered. "Untamed. You could drown worlds for me." Zom turned his gaze, eyes like collapsing stars fixated on Knull. Not as an ally, not as a master, but as meat. Knull extended his hand. The All-Black splintered into thousands of tendrils, reaching to engulf Zom. Darkness wrapped around the chaos being like chain. But Zom's chest burned brighter, and the chains melted into arcane flame. Zom roared and charged. The ground warped beneath his feet. Each step shook realms. Knull raised his hand, calling down a wave of void fire. Symbiote dragons descending from the abyss, screaming with blackened wings. Zom tore through them like paper. A backhand swipe of his burning gauntlet turned 5 dragons into corrupted stardust. "You defy me," Knull's voice sharpened, the All-Black forming into a jagged blade. "I am darkness itself." Zom's body surged. Mystic sigils blazed across his flesh. He raised his hand and ripped a rift in space, unleashing wild magic that melted the approaching void. For the first time in millennia, Knull stepped back. In the aftermath of the chaos storm, Knull and Zom stood motionless. Between them hovered the dying remains of broken dimensions, stars flickering, ghostly planets collapsing into dust. "Very well," Knull said quietly. "You are not a pawn, but you will fall." Zom tilted his head. The blackness of the void recoiled from the light in his chest. This would not be a battle of kings. This would not be a war of armies. This was a collision of primeval nightmares, unleashed upon the multiverse once more. Zom, the horned titan of unshackled chaos, and Knull, the god of primordial darkness, had clashed. And now the battlefield had no borders. What began as a skirmish in the Well of Wounds became a cataclysmic storm that raged across dimensions, tearing open rifts in heaven, hell, and everything in between. Zom charged through the void like a meteor on fire, each footfall collapsing the foundations of creation. Knull hovered in the abyss, with wings of writhing shadow, his body wrapped in the All-Black, a living sword forged before stars were born. And then they collided. A pulse of destruction swept through multiple planes. Sorcerers screamed. Astral sanctuaries shattered. Realms cracked like mirrors under a hammer. The world between breaths. Knull struck first, calling down an ocean of black tendrils, dragons of the abyss, shrieking in agony as they dove. Their forms blotted out dying stars. Each one carried a piece of Knull's hatred. But Zom, he opened his mouth and screamed. Not words, a wave of forbidden chaos magic, old as the void, but older than language. His roar became a blast of molten symbols and blistering light. The dragons dissolved mid-flight, their black ichor falling like rain onto burning dimensions below. Zom didn't pause. He lunged, shoulder first, and drove Knull through 1,000 miles of spiritual terrain, smashing temples, dreams and time itself. The black core. They fell into a world with no color, no time, no breath. The black core. Here, Knull was not just a king, he was origin. This is where I was born. Knull hissed, rising from the ash. This is where gods come to die. From the shadows, the all-black coiled like a serpent around his limb. Knull grew monstrous, his form stretching, warping, a dark celestial giant, with a crown of horns and a voice that shook the marrow of forgotten deities. He raised the all-black, now a massive obsidian glaive, and slashed downward. Zom blocked with his bare arm. The blade screamed. The symbiote recoiled, not out of fear but confusion. Zom grinned, a wicked grin that didn't belong on any god, demon, or thing with sanity. Knull struck again, this time burying the blade in Zom's side. Tendrils erupted from the wound, black veins crawling into Zom's chest. The symbiote sought to dominate, to enslave, to rewrite Zom into a creature of the abyss. Knull stepped forward, triumphant. You burn bright, he said, but everything dims in time. Even chaos kneels before the void. Zom's flame flickered, the light in his chest dimmed, then flared. Wild, blinding, defiant, Zom roared, and his body ignited with a chaos flame so violent that the black core trembled. He didn't just reject the symbiote, he burned it out of himself. He unmade Knull's influence from the inside. Knull smiled. Zom rose, glowing now with a new terrifying aura. Chaos touched by the knowledge of the void, but not consumed by it. This wasn't the same Zom. This was an ascendant god of destruction. Zom's fist thundered into Knull's chest, cracking ribs made of black stars. He grabbed one of Knull's shadow wings and ripped it off, hurling it into the screaming void. The symbiote god dropped to one knee, coughing black mist. I was darkness before light, Knull's, and I, Zom growled, towering above him, was the flame that devoured it. With a final surge of chaos energy, Zom lifted Knull by the throat, hoisted him to the skyless ceiling of the black core, and whispered, "Burn." And then, he tore him in half. No blood, no scream, just silence and ash. Knull's body crumbled into smoke, his essence erased from every plane. No rebirth, no hive, no throne. Only Zom remained, the flame that watches, alone. Zom stood at the heart of the black core. Around him the abyss recoiled. Reality mended its wounds in fear. Even the gods,